Hi everyone, I hope you all watched the previous videos. Let's start the session. Butter paper is an example of object. Butter paper is a paper made to have low opacity, allowing light to pass through. So it is considered as translucent material. Okay, so option is B. What do we call the temperature and pressure at which solid, liquid, and vapor phases of a particular substance coexist in equilibrium? Okay, in thermodynamics, the triple point of a substance is the temperature and pressure at which the three phases of the substance coexist in the thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, it is the temperature and pressure at which the sublimation curve, fusion curve, and vaporization curve meets. You can observe in the diagram. Okay, this is the triple point. Okay, this is the triple point. Our liquid phase, solid phase, vapor phases are there, right? So meeting point of these three are called triple point. Okay. Which one of the following has the highest value of specific heat? The specific heat of water is 1 calorie per gram centigrade. Okay. That is 4.186 joule per gram centigrade, which is higher than any other common substance. As a result, water plays a very important role in temperature regulation. Okay, so 1 calorie specific heat of water, specific heat of water is 1 calorie per gram degree centigrade, so equals to 4.186 joule per gram centigrade. Okay, the device used in atomic clocks is, that is maser. Okay, you can see the diagram. The word MASER stands for microwave amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. I will write it here. Okay. Microwave amplification, amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Okay. So masers were invented in 1953 by two scientists, Charles Stowe and son Arthur Shallow. Okay, masers use microwaves. It uses microwaves. Okay, masers use stimulated radiation emission as the essential principle of how they work. Okay, masers are used as the timekeeping device in atomic clocks. Okay, and as extremely low noise microwave amplifiers in radio telescopes and deep spacecraft communication ground stations. Okay, the metal whose electrical conductivity is more is silver is the answer. Okay, silver also has the highest thermal conductivity of any element and the highest light reflectance. Okay, although it is the best conductor, copper and gold are used more often in electrical appliances because copper is less expensive and gold has much higher corrosion resistances. Okay, What happens to a liquid when the vapor pressure equals to atmospheric pressure? The boiling point of liquid is the temperature at which its vapor pressure is equal to pressure of the gas above it. The normal boiling point of a liquid is the temperature at which its vapor pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere. Okay, so the liquid boils. Okay. Why is a moderator need in a nuclear reactor? A moderator is a material used in a nuclear reactor to slow down the neutrons produced from fission reaction. Okay, by slowing the neutrons down, the probability of neutron interacting with uranium-235 nuclei is greatly increased, thereby maintaining the chain reaction. Okay, so here the answer is to slow down the neutrons produced from fission reaction. Okay, tear gas used by the police to disperse the mob contains. So the answer is chlorine. Tear gas is a compound. Each molecule of tear gas contains one atom of chlorine. Okay, which of the following sound is produced by earthquakes before the main shock waves? There is low frequency infrasounds. Okay, an earthquake produces infrasound before the main shock wave begins. Infrasound is low frequency sound less than 20 Hz. Okay, it can travel hundreds of kilometers through the Earth's surface. So by detecting this sound, we can predict the earthquake. So it is around it is less than 20 Hz. Okay. Why do birds not have respiratory trouble at the time of flying at higher altitudes? Because flying takes a tremendous amount of energy. Birds need to get lots of oxygen. The air sacs in their lungs help them to keep fresh air flowing in, unlike mammals, where the old air within the trachea and mouth is inhaled each time, right? So here the answer is they have extra air sacs. The temperature which has the same reading on both Fahrenheit and Celsius is that is minus 40 degrees. Okay, kilowatt hour is the unit of energy. Okay, the part of the eye having the largest refractive index is answer is cornea. You can see in the picture. Okay, here it is the cornea, right? Okay, the greatest refractive index and thus the largest change in refractive index occurs at the anterior surface of the cornea. Okay, this is because the cornea transition from air to medium with a significant high refractive index. Okay, here the refractive index is about 1. Okay, conversion of heat into electrical energy achieved by answer is thermoelectric generator or Seebeck generator. Ball pen functions on the principle of answer is surface tension. Okay, when the coercive force is less than the adhesive force, surface tension would be low, and lower the surface tension, the softer and easier and more flowing the pen would be. Okay, which is the direction of magnetic field inside a magnet? It is from south pole to North Pole. Okay, you can see here the magnetic fields are coming like this, right? From south to north. Okay, it goes like this, south to north. Here asking inside. Okay, inside a magnet or a solenoid, it's same thing. Okay, if he is asking outside the magnet, it's from the north to south, like this. Okay, you can see it, right? Okay, I will erase the things. Okay, you can see the picture clearly. From the north to south, it's outside. Okay, outside the magnetic field. Direction of magnetic field outside a magnet is from north to south. Inside a magnet is from south to north. Even is asking about the solenoid, same thing happened. You can see in the left diagram. Okay, what is meant by calorimetry? Calorimetry is the process of measuring the amount of heat released or absorbed during a chemical reaction. Okay, constant volume calorimetry is used to measure the heat of a reaction while holding volume constant and resisting large amount of pressure. Okay, here constant volume calorimetry also known as constant volume calorimetry, also known as bomb calorimetry. Okay, so here the answer is measurement of heat. Okay, moving electric charge produces a magnetic field. Okay, a charged particle moving without acceleration produces an electric as well as magnetic field. It produces an electric field because it is a charged particle. All of a sudden, when it starts moving, it starts producing a magnetic field. Okay, what do we call material which gets weakly magnetized when placed in an external magnetic field? That is paramagnetic. Okay, those substances which are weakly magnetized when placed in an external magnetic field in the same direction as applied field are called paramagnetic substances. Okay, they tend to move from weaker to stronger part of the field. The magnetism exhibited by these substances is called paramagnetism. Okay, which of the following is an essential condition for geostationary satellites of Earth? It should rotate from west to east, right? Its period of revolution should be 24 hours, right? It should be at a height of nearly 36,000 kilometers above the equator. That's also right. So it's all of the above. Okay. Permissible noise level at residential area during nighttime is it is 45 decibel. Okay. Energy in reflected light. The amount of instant wave energy that is reflected from a surface depends on the nature of the surface and the angle at which the wave strikes the surface. Okay, the amount of wave energy reflected increases as the angle of incidence increases. Okay, light waves obey the law of refraction. Okay, here the answer is increases with increasing angle. We have discussed this before. Okay, or is the previous video. The second law of motion gives us a measure of which of the following physical quantities. Okay, here Newton's second law of motion states that the rate of change of linear momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force applied on the body. Okay, here it means force is directly proportional to rate of change of linear momentum of the body. Okay, dv by dt. P is momentum, right? Okay, here momentum equals to mass into velocity. Okay, so F equals to k times m into dv by dt. That is equals to k is a constant here. Okay, mass into dv by dt means acceleration. Okay, so the Newton law gives the measure of the force here. Okay, second law of motion gives us a measure of so the following physical quantities means that is force. Okay, force equals to k equals to ma. We can neglect k here because it's a constant. Okay, the best material for the core of transformer is that is soft iron. Everyone knows this, I think. Okay, the soft iron core increases the strength of magnetic field inside a transformer. Okay, increases the strength of increases the strength of magnetic field magnetic field inside a transformer. Okay, inside a transformer. Okay, the main purpose of this using iron core in transformer because iron is a magnetic material and it is easily available everywhere, right? The core is laminated to reduce the eddy current and has eddy current losses. Okay, in AC circuits, measure AC meters measure RMS values, right? Okay. When a light wave is reflected from a mirror, there is a change in its a light ray experiences a 180-degree phase shift on reflection from a surface. Okay, reflection also implies a directional change. Okay, as any mirror material is never 100% reflective, the reflected ray light will have a somewhat lower amplitude than the incident light. Okay, some light energy will be absorbed in the material surface and some of the incident light will be scattered. Okay, so here the answer is amplitude. Okay, what is the product of mass of the body into velocity? Okay, we have discussed that previously, the momentum formula, right? Momentum equals to momentum P equals to mass into velocity, right? I have derived it the force formula, Newton's second law formula of previous question, right? The width of depletion layer of PN junction. Answer is increased under reverse bias. You can see here, okay, the reverse bias, the width is increased comparatively in the forward bias, okay. Connecting a P-type region to the negative terminal of battery, okay, and the N-type region to the positive terminal corresponds to reverse bias if a diode is reverse biased, the voltage at the cathode is comparatively higher than anode. Therefore, no current will flow until the diode breaks down. Okay, because the p-type material is now connected to the negative terminal of the power supply. The holes in the p-type material are pulled away from the junction, leaving behind charged ions, causing the width of the diffusion region to increase. Likewise, because the n-type region is connected to the positive terminal, the electrons will also be pulled away from the junction, leaving behind charged ions, causing the width of the diffusion region to increase. Okay, a body absorbs heat most of it is free, black, and rough surface. Okay, what is the process known as when substance converts from solid to vapor state directly? That is sublimation. Okay, the following particles move with same kinetic energy. Which of them has maximum momentum? Okay, the answer is alpha particles. Okay, alpha particles have maximum momentum if they move with same kinetic. A bottle of soda lime is grasped by the neck and swung briskly in a vertical circle, near which portion of the bottle do the bubbles collect? It is answer near the neck. Okay. Centrifugal force pushes anything outwards. As your liquid is heavier, it will push back the bubbles and go further in. As a result, bubbles come to the center, which is bottle neck. Okay. Water from soil enters into the root hairs owing to capillary pressure. Okay, water from soil enters into the root hairs by the action of capillary pressure. Okay, the angle in which a cricket ball should be hit to travel maximum horizontal distance, that is 45 degrees. Okay, the minimum number of geostationary satellites needed for uninterrupted global coverage is, in theory, two satellites in diametrically opposite geosynchronous orbits could cover the planet. In order for the satellites to communicate, a minimum of three would be needed, each at 60-degree angle to others. Okay. At this point, the strength and quality coverage increases proportionally to the number of satellites. Okay. So answer here is two. Theoretically, it is two, but minimum practically we need three at a 60 degrees angle. Okay. The best conductor of electricity among the following is, that is silver. Okay. Flight recorded is technically called, that is called black box. Okay. A flight recorder is an electronic recording device placed in an aircraft for the purpose of facilitating the investigation of aviation accidents and incidents. Flight recorders are also known by the misnomer black box. Okay, they are in fact bright orange to aid in their recovery after accidents. Okay, which type of mirror is used in the headlights of vehicle? Everyone knows this, concave mirrors. Okay, because this mirror converges the light rays coming from the focus, that is bulb. Okay, it will reflect, it will be reflected back in the form of long parallel rays. Okay, what is the work done by centripetal force in case of uniform circular motion? Okay, that is 0. Okay, as the centripetal force acts upon an object moving in a circle at constant speed, the force always acts inward as the velocity of the object directly tangential to the circle. Okay, thus the work done by the centripetal force in case of uniform circular motion is 0 joules. Okay, which of the following is true about displacement of an object? It cannot be greater than the magnitude of distance traveled by an object, but it can be smaller than the magnitude of the distance traveled by an object, or it may be equal to the distance traveled by an object. Okay, so here the answer is always less than the distance. Okay, as we go from equator to north pole, the value of g, the acceleration due to gravity is that is increases. Okay, if we move from equator to pole, the value of acceleration due to gravity increases when compared to the equator of the Earth. The radius is less at the poles since the Earth is considerably flat at the poles. Okay, so answer is increases. Saving mirror is that is concave mirror. Okay, magnifying glass is basically a that is convex lens. Okay, a magnifying glass. Okay, is convex lens that is used to produce a magnified image, sorry, image of the object. A magnifying glass can be used to focus light, such as concentrate the sun radiation to create hot spot at the focus for fire starting. Okay, water will not be vaporized if the humidity is 100%. Okay, which of the following is not a part of CRT? CRT consists of three basic parts: the electronic gun assembly and phosphor viewing surface and glass envelope. So gas plasma is not a part of CRT. Okay. Railway tracks are banked on curves so that necessary centripetal force may be obtained from the horizontal component of the weight of the train. Okay. The pitch of sound depends on the pitch of sound depends on frequency. Okay. Pitch depends on frequency but also on loudness and spectrum. In the introduction on sound, we saw that pitch depends primarily on frequency. However, it also depends weakly on sound level. It depends on harmonic content. Okay. Which of the following is conductor of electricity? That is salt water. Okay. Because salt water is a good conductor of electricity. Salt molecules are made of sodium ions and chlorine ions. Okay, these ions are carry electricity through water. Which of these instruments is used for testing the purity of milk? Everyone knows that lactometer, right? A fuse wire is made of. It's also easy question and repetitive question. A fuse wire is made of tin and lead. Okay. That's all for today. We'll discuss the remaining questions in the coming classes. Please watch the previous classes too. If you have any doubts, please comment below. Okay. If any mistakes you found, just let me know in the comment box. I will rectify that. Okay. I will clarify that regarding your questions. Okay. So we'll make another video further. Thank you.